Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Olsen, the Senior Product Manager at Datacom in the AI Business Solutions team across Dynamics 365 Power Platform, and also now, as you can imagine while we're all here today, dominated by AI. So you could pretty much takes over my role on a daily basis. So this session here, kickstart your AI adoption journey. Going to look at the art of prompting and then through to the lens of Microsoft through Copilot productivity. So this is really, I'm trying to simplify it down and showing you what you can do to get the more out of user productivity with Copilot. Organisational AI journey. This is effectively, AI is a huge topic, and this is pretty much known why we're all here today. And it's a journey that we're all taking together and all on different stages of that journey. This is how at Datacom, and also my team, and we're working with a number of different colleagues in our team, we look at an AI journey as well. And there's a number of different stages. Right up front is education, looking at awareness of AI, or maybe ChatGPT. A lot of us have used ChatGPT, but requires further education or awareness of AI. So that's the first stage, education, very important. The next one, once you move on and understand a little bit more about the AI technology, you start to experiment. You want to get hands-on exercises that helps your employees or yourself to drive now your personal productivity. So I've got a big focus, a bit of a bias this afternoon around your personal productivity and how it is across the Microsoft 365 suite, as you know, and sometimes as Office 365 as well. Once we move out of that area of experimentation, we move beyond experimenting and we start creating those POCs, proof of concepts that operate within your business or your organisation. Once we understand those use cases have been met by a proof of concept and we want to move those into production, that's where we start integrating it into our organisation. We embed those chosen proof of concepts that are going to make some business value in organisation, and they become our core operations and drive value inside our teams. And lastly, if you do start making sure AI is part of your blueprint, your backbone of your organisation, this is where we start scaling out AI adoption and solutions across the entire organisation. But again, I'm going to show one favourite today, the journey, but it's your journey at the end of the day. Not everyone's journey has the same or moves in the same pace. As we know, we're all in this together, and even we're all learning at the same time as well. A number of sessions that I've done with customers, I've done put together demos, put together information, and over the weekend there's been 600 updates from Microsoft in the world of AI, and when I turn up on Monday, all the icons are moved on me, drop-down lists are moved on me, so some of my content is outdated just over the weekend. So there are different stages of AI, and I understand, I saw the shark terminology earlier, is a little bit like that, so yeah, just keep that in mind that the state of readiness is different, and we're all on the journey together, but many common challenges we are facing today. So what does this all mean for us? We can start by examining how AI tools can help us every day by making small steps without that massive or giant leap into automation. When starting, just reduce all the noise about AI. Make it practical, hands-on, and relevant to your end users or your employees in your organisation. Why? Because we need to win them over. We need to get that adoption internally before we start moving into those other stages that I mentioned earlier without frustrating them. Make it about your end users, how it relates to their daily work. Make it fun and enjoyable. When we turn up and work with AI on a daily basis, even at home, you might be jumping on to AI tooling to help you out with your financial statements, or maybe picking that airplane flight across to a warmer climate than we have got it in New Zealand at the moment. But a lot of the AI talk can be overpowering, or it can be boring. So make it fun, drive that internal interest and momentum in the organisation today. It needs to also be relevant and match those use cases as well. Consider what each user group or your divisions within your organisation does and how they act with your business data and applications. So out of all of that, not sure where to start, or is it all in the too hard basket? First option within the Microsoft suite is why not empower your employees to use Copilot Chat to get started. You could start with a small group of employees or staff members if you've got some concerns about the wider rollout. Another feedback we get a lot of the time is people just don't get enough time to work with AI in their day jobs. So try and bake in some time into their daily roles on a daily basis or a weekly basis, even down to, if you want to, 15 minutes a day where they can get hands-on in their own time to experiment with AI tooling, all to help with the adoption of your journey. And that journey always begins with a prompt. And if your organisation has Microsoft 365 today, or Office 365 as it's known for many, many years, that's the Word, the Office Excel, Teams suite, you had the beginning, the opportunity effectively to begin your AI journey at no additional cost, because normally Copilot Chat is bundled in those Office plans. So a majority of the Microsoft commercial, enterprise and education plans do provide Copilot Chat as free as part of that license. So, and prompting can be a little bit like, I think about it's like talking to my children at home. Depending on how you talk to them, you'll get a different response or a different interaction. And I think about my 8-year-old when I go and ask her to clean my room. I could just walk into a room and say, clean your room, and then walk away and come back in 20 minutes and she's done only one thing. And prompting's a little bit similar to that with AI tooling. If I went back and actually changed the way I spoke to her and said, hey, can you, Isabella's her name, can you pick up your toys? Can you maybe pull the curtains if she's still got them pulled? Can you make your bed? Maybe put your books away? She's likely going to do a whole lot more for you, and prompting's similar to that as well. So the more detail, the more precise you are with your expectations, you are going to get a better outcome. Another option could be around walking up to a fish and chip shop. If you just walked up to that counter and said, hey, can I have some food? That person behind the counter is probably going to look at you very oddly. Yes, we can provide you some food, but what would you like? So that's considered as a weak prompt in chat days, talking to humans as well. So always think about when you're working with prompting or AI tooling, think about how you would interact with humans as well. So you could have actually walked up to that counter and said that I needed 2 pieces of snapper, a scuba chips, with a bit of chicken salt, and then if depending on what drink you like, maybe a Coke, a pump bottle. That's a lot more detail for the person behind the counter. They'll probably then start processing your order and taking payments. Again, that's a very strong prompt in making a human analogy out of it. So what does this all mean for prompting? And I'm going to just share with you 4 areas which make powerful prompting, or the art or the science of power prompting. The first area is around the goal. What do you want from Copilot? This is Microsoft Copilot. I want a list of 3 to 5 bullet points to prepare me for an upcoming meeting or an executive meeting, etc., etc. The second one is context. Why do you need it and who is involved? For an upcoming meeting with Datacom, focusing on their current state and what they're looking to achieve. So again, goal, context, the first 2 of powerful prompting. Next area comes to source. What information or samples do you want Copilot to use? Focus on email and Teams chat with Justin as an example over the last 2 weeks. So here we are really honing in on the source of what you want Copilot to use. And lastly is expectations. How should Copilot best respond and fulfill your request? Respond with a formal tone or respond short and slick, or maybe, and some people had some fun, this is some of the training sessions that I've done, return it as though I'm talking like a pirate. So you can have all sorts of fun around the expectations of how you want Copilot to fulfill or output your expectations, or maybe right down to something as similar to that I wanted to explain it to my 8-year-old daughter could be another option. So those are the 4 areas of powerful prompting: goal, context, source, and expectations. So if you're looking for an acronym maybe to try and remember those, a lot of us turned up this morning, probably grabbed a coffee to get the brain motivated. One acronym could be good coffee saves everyone. Could be an option there to remembering the powerful areas of prompting. Right, so there's all the theory out of the road. Let's jump into some of the demos. So the tech demo session here, I'm doing 2 of 3. So the first one here, I'm going to look at summarising documents with Copilot. And I've just popped the prompt up the top there as well, because sometimes at the back of the room might be hard to read the prompt inside Copilot. But effectively what I'm going to do here is pop in a prompt that says summarise the service agreement. So I'm taking a service agreement, it's 110 pages long. And I'm for a business audience, and I want it to focus on the scope of services, the service levels, termination terms, and the expectations of keeping it short and slick. So if I pop that in, and yes, I pre-baked all these earlier. So basically I'll pop that prompt into Copilot. I'll drag in that file. Again, you can do this with Copilot Chat, the free version today. You could drop in the file. Obviously, with the full version, you don't have to drop the file in. You can actually reference the file directly. So what it's going to do there is it's going to take that file. It's going to, within milliseconds or even minutes, depending on the speed there, it's going to read that 110-page document based on your prompt, and it's going to come back and return you information about that document. So it's going to go through and show you the scope of services, the service level information, termination and commercial terms, and go through and give you some extra steps as well, what you like to do beyond what it's returned. So if you want to go through, as a few people mentioned, write it out into a Word document or maybe a PowerPoint presentation to present it, again, you can take those next steps with Copilot. So that's the first example, tech demo there, summarising documentation with Copilot. And again, you can also put in multiple documents in there as well if you wanted to look at comparisons between two documents. Rather than reading them both and trying to use comparison tool sets, you could use Copilot to compare those two documents and find the differences as well. Really, really powerful, the Word with Copilot. Second option I'm going to look at here is the demo around now Copilot summary and Outlook. And this is where you might have an email with a long thread, number of threads on that email, or you've just been dropped into an email, maybe from your manager, and they want you to comment on that email and provide feedback, or basically provide your expertise to that information as well. So here I'm going to basically open up an email. This is one that clearly I've pre-baked earlier. It's gone through and it's showed me a whole lot of information about flights and details to fly across to Fiji. And remember I talked about getting to a warmer place earlier. This is an email that talks all about the prices, it talks about the fare options, it talks about the luggage details, whether you've got 7 kgs or 24 kgs, up to 30 kgs, depending on the airline. And I've also said that I'm thinking about flying from Dunedin to Christchurch across to Fiji as well. So here I can go up and there is a button on the top right-hand corner inside Outlook, and you can also use the web client to do this as well, so you don't need to be at your PC. If you are at a colleague's place, friend's place, your internet cafe, you can jump straight into the web browser of your email. Once you're logged in, you'll see the summary by Copilot in there. You can click that button, and again, once I play this here, you can see that it's going to go through within seconds, and it's going to quickly summarise that email at the top of my email, and it'll basically say that you've looked through the fare details here across to Fiji. It's showing me the pricing details. Hopefully you can read that at the back. It's basically summarised the main options around fare types and travel periods, and it's also picked up my conversations of my preferences around flying from Dunedin to Christchurch across to Fiji as well. So really, really handy feature, and being able to summarise those long threads and get up to speed, because most of the time we go straight to the bottom of those emails, we read from the bottom up, and then we basically respond to the recipient. So a really, really handy feature there inside Outlook. Another option I'm going to show you inside Outlook is around Copilot coaching. So here I'm going to basically use the coaching facility that's built in with Outlook with Copilot. And I've popped again the prompt up the top there, so once I start this you can hopefully read it from the back of the room as well. So here I'm going to pop in a new email. I've just drafted it. You can see it's pretty one line. I haven't put to or hi, haven't signed off on that email, but effectively I popped in there, get me the final draft for a new report by end of day tomorrow. You can see that's coming across reasonably direct, or maybe even blunt, depending on how the recipient receives that. The last draft had several mistakes that need to be corrected before we send the newest draft. You should attempt to catch items like that before they happen. So up the top there, on the top right-hand corner, I have a Copilot button just above the ribbon there, and I'm going to select the coaching. Again, what Copilot's going to do, it's going to read my draft email, and it's going to come back and give me some suggestions of what I could do next. The first one there, and it's broken up into 3, tone, reader sentiment, and clarity. The first one around tone, the email is direct and clear about expectations, but may come across abrupt or overly critical to the recipient. So you can see that we picked up that already, and the Copilot coach has picked that up as well. So similar to like an All Black coach, they're going to help you with those line-outs, going to help you with those passes, scrums. Again, this is similar to email. The coach is going to help you with drafting those emails and making them more professional or more recipient-friendly at the end of the day. The next area, reader sentiment, it's going to go through and show us that information as well. So I'm just jumping through here. It's going to show us that the email's focused on mistakes that could cause the reader to be discouraged or unappreciated. And it's going to go through, hey, you could put some information in here. I appreciate the ongoing work on the report. Again, just drafting that email a lot clearer. And the last area around clarity, it's going to give us some options there as well. The email clearly states the deadline, but effectively you could actually say the date. You could say by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So it's going to give you that information back in the coaching there. So really, really handy tool. It's at the top right-hand corner if you do have the Copilot license, and you can start using drafting and coaching. Drafting's in that drop-down box as well, but I'm just touching on the demo today of coaching. So that's the example or demo for Outlook. The next one I'm going to take you through is Copilot in Microsoft Word. So here we can take a product specifications document and want to do some content generation directly inside that Word document. It's got a whole lot of specifications, it's got a whole lot of data in there, and this could be any document that you've got in your organisation and you want to basically add content to that document using Copilot. So this example, I want to introduce an introduction section to the document, but I want Copilot to create that for me. So I'm going to pop the cursor just inside the document underneath introduction section. I'm going to write summarise this document and place the content under the heading introduction. And you can see off to the right hand side, I pop that in, it's lining things up, and it's going to come back and then pop in the information on the screen. And you can see that it's highlighted, it's put Copilot in prompt mode effectively. It hasn't changed your document yet, but it's going to allow you to do some additional edits to that document if you like. If you're not happy with what it's put, you can just click the undo button and it'll disappear out of your eyes. Otherwise, if you're just happy with what you've got, you can click done and it'll pop that information directly in the Word document. Otherwise, if you think, that might be a little bit too long, it's come back with some other options as well in here in Copilot. And Copilot's really good at giving you further options you can do and suggestions. So the second option there, it says shorten it to 2 to 3 sentences. And I'm thinking, actually, I'll pop that in and I'll put that as a prompt. And I'll go away and let that do that. And effectively what it'll do is it'll come back and I'll go through and shorten that content into 2 to 3 sentences. So really, really handy feature there, being able to do content generation directly in Microsoft Word that you can take advantage of today with the Microsoft Office Copilot license. Right, the next option here I'm going to take you through the demo is around Copilot now in Excel, and this is probably, Excel is probably one of my favourite out of the Office suite, the amount of functionality and the help that it can do for you. A lot of times I'm having to put together formulas and things to navigate around data. Copilot's my friend for building all those formulas today. I no longer need to be a formula expert. And also this example here, we can go through and look at, again, that e-bike data, but here I've got some production information. It's got the model details, product categories, costs, it's got frame sizes, a whole lot of bike specs there, and off to the right, quantity on hand, and also year-to-date quantity sold. So what I'm wanting to do is add a profit margin column onto into that. So if basically just by putting that basic prompt, add a column for profit margin, yes, you probably can tell it's going to add that column, but what it's also going to do, it's very smart, Copilot, it's going to go away, analyse that data in there, it's going to calculate the information as well, and it's also going to go through and format that data into a percentage for you automatically. Behind the scenes, it's going to give you information off to the right-hand side telling you what it's done. It's also going to provide you with a formula that it's using behind the scenes, and if you're happy, you can click done, and it's now applied a profit margin directly against that data in Excel for you within a matter of seconds. So again, this is where AI is really driving your personal productivity inside Excel. And it can go through and build you visualizations off your data as well. Visualize this data, it'll build you bar graphs, pie charts. Also can build you your pivot tables. If you're not a pivot table champion, again, it can build those for you in a matter of seconds as well. So very, very powerful, the capabilities that are built into Microsoft Excel today with Copilot. Right, the next one I'm just going to summarise up as well is Copilot in Microsoft Teams, and I call this a little bit like Big Brother. So maybe you've got those stages where there's a Teams meeting running, you're running a little bit late, and you jump into that Teams meeting, you join, maybe you join with your camera on or off, and then you think, wonder what they've spoken about in the first half an hour of that session. Copilot can be your friend here. You can basically open up the Copilot window with the Copilot license, and you can effectively recap the meeting so far. There is an out-of-the-box prompt that's there, but if you want to put a bit more details in there, say like recap the meeting so far, summarise the key takeaways and action items as separate actions, including who's responsible for each. And this is even a live example that I did the other day when I was in a meeting with one of our content creators and our communications team in Datacom, where we're going through to write more technical blog articles for our website, and effectively we had that conversation, and without us having to take notes, at the end of the day, I was able to go back to that meeting recap here. I was able to ask it to recap the meeting. It went through and gave me the details of that meeting, so it discussed, outlined what we discussed through that meeting really easily. I thought, that might be a little bit too long, and basically I put an additional prompt about revising those meeting notes and put them into minutes effectively. So if you do want to take your Teams meetings today and turn them into minutes very quickly. You can do that with Copilot, again giving those user productivity gains and saving you all those hours post the meeting, putting together those minutes. So again, I popped in here, shorten this for me and give me an output that's a lot more concise. Again, coming back to our 4 areas of powerful prompting. Again, you can see there, it's put the meeting minutes, it said who attend the meeting, the date. It also will give you the participants in the meeting. It'll give you an executive summary, so really short and slick. But what it'll also do is give me the action items out of that meeting as well. No longer do I need to take notes on my notebook beside me. It'll basically draft out those items for me, the action items, put them against the owners, and we're done within seconds. So really, really handy feature, Copilot and Microsoft Teams. So as you can see, once we start using the Copilot license, we don't want to give it up. And it's similar to a driver's license. Once you've got that car license or motorbike license, once you've got it, you don't want to lose it. So Copilot, once I've noticed a lot of people using this, and also the statistics that's come back from the Microsoft Work Trend Index recently, the number down the bottom with the big red star is 77% of people who do have the Copilot license. Once they have it, they don't want to give it up. So they want to make sure that their manager, maybe that they report to, who has control over the licensing, wants to take it off them for budgetary reasons or maybe usage reasons. Make sure you do use it because the majority of the time, most people will get the best value out of Copilot. Another takeaway example, I hear a lot about ROI, your personal ROI with Copilot. So I just wanted to share one tip that I share with a number of the customers and colleagues is around personal productivity, return on investment. So if you think about the hours that you're saving in each task you're doing with Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Office across that suite, you could take each of those tasks, and if you wanted to, you could pop them into a spreadsheet and you could total them up. If you take each task and then multiply it by and break down your hourly rate, so take your salary, break it down to an hourly rate, multiply them together, there's your personal, effectively, ROI of how much dollar value that Copilot is saving you within your role. So this example, I ripped my first draft, saved me 2 hours. I summarised the missed meeting like I just showed you in Teams, that saved me an hour or 2 hours of my time. I then did some research for some product development. That saved me another 2 hours with Copilot. So quickly, those 3 options, I saved 5 hours. If I multiply that by my hourly rate, I'm going to get my dollar value of my personal productivity saved inside my role. So this helps with those business cases or making it more tangible within your business. And also, how do you measure it? So this is a good option of taking away of how you measure your personal productivity with Copilot as well. So to summarise here, no matter where you are on your AI journey, I looked at kickstarting it here with a number of options and demos. Datacom here has your people to support you. So again, we do a lot around Copilot enablement for Copilot chat and also M365 Copilot, a lot of those proof of concepts and experimentations, and also scaling out the AI within your organisation as well across your operations. So that is a wrap this afternoon. Hopefully you've taken away some good bites out of that, and thanks for attending and enjoy the rest of the roadshow.